welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shabani Gharat. And before we begin our show this week, here are the top stories from the world of media marketing and advertising. The global advertising industry is in the middle of a churn. Consolidations, acquisitions, mergers, and now the big push for AI-led efficiency are reshaping the business. But this transformation is also leading to redundancies and job cuts. Here in India, WPP-owned Ogilvy has let go of about 30 to 40 employees. Sources told Storyboard18's Imran Fazal that shrinking client budgets in categories like FMCG, consumer tech and lifestyle, coupled with pressure to adopt AI-driven operations, are forcing agencies to trim teams. Meanwhile, consumer brands are opening up their festive wallets. Advertising spends this season are expected to rise by as much as 15 to 20% year-on-year. India's overall ADEX is projected to cross 55,000 crore rupees in FY26. That's a growth of nearly 20%, and festive campaigns alone will make up almost a third of that spend. Across the Atlantic, President Donald Trump has shaken up the global film industry with a new tariff, 100% duty on all foreign-made movies. For Bollywood, that means distribution cost in US could double overnight. Producers and marketers are now rethinking their game plans. Expect less spending on big billboards and TV spots in diaspora-heavy American cities and a sharper pivot to lean digital-first campaigns. The industry, meanwhile, is calling for a reciprocal action against US-based media houses. And there is a big regulatory move in online gaming space. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology has opened consultations on the Promotion and Regulation of Online Gaming Act 2025. Public comments are being invited until 31st of October. Under the new framework, the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting will regulate and promote online social games. A newly established Online Gaming Authority of India will oversee the wider sector. The Act also introduces a 5-year certification regime for esports and social games, making registration, compliance, user safety mandatory, and an attempt to bring accountability to one of India's fastest growing digital ecosystem. Well, those were the key industry highlights from this week. For more news, views and analysis, please visit storyboard18.com. Moving on, Bulgari inaugurated its Serpenti Infinito exhibition at Nita Mukesh Ambani Cultural Center in Mumbai this week. On the sidelines of this launch, we caught up with Bulgari CEO Jean-Christophe Babin, and he spoke to us about their ambassador Priyanka Chopra Jonas' insight on their design. He also spoke about how benefit from cross-industry leadership is coming into the luxury market and their impact, and how leaders like Leena Nair entering luxury from non-traditional backgrounds are changing the game. He himself comes from FMCG background and is speaking about his transition to becoming a leader in the luxury market. Let's begin this conversation by asking you, what makes India the right market and this the right time to launch the Serpenti Infinito exhibition?
Well, first, India is a country which is very famous culturally and historically for its worshipping of snakes, Naga in Indian.
Yes.
And therefore, it's a country where the relevance of this symbol is particularly developed and liked. So, of course, being Bulgari with as key icon the snake, so the Naga as well, we were obviously obliged to meet and to introduce, the snake, the Naga, according to Bulgari and according to jeweler, without forgetting that the Naga has been also an artistic expression, and it's still nowadays a source of inspiration for many artists. And therefore, we decided with the Ambani family to organize the first ever luxury exhibition in India on a large scale, which would really create a dialogue between the East and the West, between the snake as a symbol in India and in all the religions revolving around Hinduism and Buddhism, and on the other end, as per Bulgari, where we inherited the snake from not the Romans directly, but the Egyptians with Queen Cleopatra. She brought the serpentine to Rome as a jewel, and ever since the legend was born.
Amazing. And also, since we are meeting in the country, if you can speak about India's influence on the luxury market worldwide. What are you seeing? What is the kind of influence that India has on the luxury market today?
Well, first, I mean, the Bulgari family has ever been fascinated by India, and even in times where it took 24 hours flight, to come to India, the Bulgari brothers used to come in India because of the artistic inspiration first. Secondly, the mastering of India when it comes to crafting extraordinary gems, it's famous. We even recently had a docu-film on Amazon Prime with Priyanka Chopra, acting in that docu-film, where everything is between Jaipur and Delhi, and then Italy, of course, where we see, from a rough, the birth of an extraordinary emerald, which will end up at the Venice Film Festival. And this says long about, how India is pivotal to the world gemology and jewelry. Other country with, an unrivaled knowledge on how to find, the best rough, not from India necessarily, but from all over the world. And then to extract from those rough, the best you can imagine to create an extraordinary jewel. And therefore, for that reason, the Bulgari brothers came to the country, but not only for the gems, but also to get some inspiration. And recently, 15 years ago, we even got inspired by the tiles of the Jaipur houses, which are very specific in shape. And we derived a collection called Takti, which was really a new cut for Bulgari. We never had that cut, and it didn't exist in India, but the tactic cut was literally, reproducing the tiles of Jaipur as a cut. And this collection is still, a collection we produce. It's high-end, so we don't make many pieces. So we still have today in our collection something which is directly coming from India, from a recent inspiration.
And how do celebrities like Priyanka Chopra help shape Bulgari's image, global image, and also, how do they impact the consumers in, let's say, a market like India?
Priyanka is primarily a lady, very knowledgeable about jewelry, very, very smart about understanding a brand like Bulgari. And at the same time, also very sensitive about those symbols which are important to Indian people. And Priyanka has been the main force driving us to create 2 pieces or 3 pieces of jewelry, 2 Mangal Sutra and 1 Kada. Which we're using on the one hand Bulgari icons, namely for the Mangal Sutra, the Bulgari famous logo, which is world famous. It's really the kind of stamp of Bulgari. And on the other hand, from B01, she extracted a small lady bracelet, which we turned into a very strong, manly yellow gold bracelet for men, the Kada. So she's also, I would say, our best advisor when it comes to create more resonance and emotional bonds between the Indian clients
customers,
and the brand Bulgari. And also, she participates to the eye jewelry. She is visiting India regularly with Lucia Silvestri, our creative director. She has been protagonist also of one of our major movies on Amazon Prime. The Inside the Dream, and this Inside the Dream takes place 50% of the time in India, where you see both Priyanka and Lucia and 2 or 3 other actresses. And you understand the history of India with rough gems and what India can achieve, which we cannot find in any other country, leading to an actress wearing a beautiful emerald at the Venice Film Festival. So I would say that Priyanka is probably amongst all the ambassadors we ever had, the one which is really at 360. Yes, there is a communication which is common to all ambassadors, but there is a genuine passion for the brand and a genuine and proactive force of proposal to make that brand even closer to Indian arts, while maintaining, obviously, what has made it strong, that is its main icons and symbols.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, Mangal Sutra, which is such an important piece of jewelry in the jewelry box of Indian married women. And Bulgari was the only brand to come up with a piece of jewelry like that, considering there are so many others present in the India market. So that was quite insightful and awesome. And now we have seen, like, leaders like Leena Nair from the non-traditional backgrounds, not the luxury background, coming into this space. So as a leader of a luxury brand yourself, what is your take on, the cross-industry leaders, taking up leadership position in the luxury industry?
Well, I think it's something which is very much enriching because, a brand obviously has a DNA, but like any individual, any family across generations, it evolves. So the DNA remains a DNA, probably, like in human beings, but then the character, the way of presenting yourself is something which evolves. And only, those cross experiences can allow a brand to develop and to be true to what it is, while at the same time be very much in tune with the times. And this is also the challenge, because if you remain stuck with your DNA, you might become old-fashioned. If you are only in tune with times, you are fashion brands, which is a totally different model, because if you will transmit to your daughter your Bulgari ring, you probably won't transmit to your daughter your shoes, because they are not timeless, whether you like it or not. And so this is important, to combine those two dimensions.
To strike that balance between being timeless and not to only following the trend. Having said that, would you consider a leader from other industries, from other sectors, with non-luxury background to take up leadership position at Bulgari?
Well, I will be very blunt. When I joined luxury, it was before Bulgari, but I took over a brand which is also very famous in India, as I introduced it myself in India, which is a Tiger Year luxury watch brand. Oh. And that was in the early 2000s. Yes. And I came myself straight from a big German company called Henkel, which is famous for its consumer goods, especially household cleaning, shampoos, and so forth. And overnight, I moved from Düsseldorf to Switzerland to take the helm of a luxury company. Yeah. And I knew watches only with Tiger. And then 13 years later, I had the chance to be proposed Bulgari, always by LVMH. And I knew nothing about jewelry. I knew nothing about fragrances. I knew nothing about bags, even less about hotels. Yeah. And today, analysts report that apparently we are very successful, not only in watches, which was my first background luxury, but very successful in jewelry, very successful in hotels and so on. So I think that at a certain point, CEO skills are not related to the category you steer. Absolutely. They go beyond the category. Yeah. I think it's more a matter of vision, but not having a vision which you share and clearly, so that people are not only aligned, but enthusiastic and passionate to execute, because they believe in it. And obviously to find the right people as well, because, it's a bit like being a conductor. Your success relies on the musicians playing for you, because as a conductor, maybe you have some instrument background, but you're not the best in class in violin or no. You know how it works. And you have to put together a group and aggregate that group behind your own pace and tempo, because each conductor for the same symphony has a different tempo, which makes some more attractive than others. But you should never forget that you are primarily a conductor. And we work with Lorenzo Viotti and Beatrice Venezzi, which are two very young conductor. She is Italian, he is Swiss, even though the name suggests Italian as well. And I had long talks with Beatrice, she's a very good friend of mine. And she said, Jean-Christophe, one of our challenges is that one evening we conduct in Milano or in Roma with an orchestra, but the next day I'm in Taormina, because she's the director of the orchestra of Taormina, and I have a few hours to align 120 musicians to a symphony or a concerto, which we never played together. And so you need to have this kind of power of alignment, power of, I would say, contagious energy, so that that group, which never ever played, conducted by you, will immediately try to deliver its best, even though they hardly know you. And this is a challenge of conductors, which we hardly believe, because we know, okay, this conductor is from the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. Yes, it's true. But very often, he or she conducts a totally different orchestra we never played, and it has to be superlative as well. And this is a bit what is expected from a CEO. Whatever you conduct, you should do it rallying the people. We will eventually be the artifacts of the success.
Thank you so much. Thanks.